Djuren för mig.
Kill you!
I just seen death.
Do you know what the most frightening thing in the world is?
Hey everybody, welcome back to another Macabrecast. I have an interview with my friend Jessica today. Jessica, how are you doing?
I'm good, Matt. How are you?
Good. So I'm going to start up by saying how I know about your situation, and that is through your sister, who I've known for a long time. And for years, she's told me that you've had experiences at your house. And she's told me a few things here and there, but I never got the full scope of it until like recently. So as far as I know, this is like a generational haunting, right? I mean, it's been going on your mother and even more than that, right?
Yeah, my grandmother, my mother, they've experienced things beginning ever since moving into this house. Yeah, all of us has experienced, a lot of things here.
Okay. So when did how young were you when you started to realize something was off about the house?
I was about maybe 6 years old.
Wow, that young, huh?
Yeah, I remember an incident where I was in the living room on the floor, playing with like my Barbies,
Mm-hmm.
and in front of me on the couch was my grandmother. She likes to crochet.
Okay.
And she's crocheting, I'm playing with my Barbies, and then all of a sudden, the hallway right next to us, I hear children like laughing, screaming, and I stop and I'm like, what is that? And it sounded like it was right there. It was not outside. And I remember my grandma, she stopped and she, like, her face, it said it all, like she was scared. And I go, Grandma, who is that? And she's like, oh, it's like she was trying to think of something to say, not to scare me. She's like, oh, it's the kids outside. The windows are open. You're just hearing them right outside. And I was like, oh, okay. So I go back to playing, and then I'm just hearing them like giggling, laughing. And then Grandma was like, she looked spooked and she kept looking down the hallway and then like nervous. So that was my first experience that I was like, okay, I look back and I'm like, that's strange. Because it was like right there next to us. It wasn't outside.
Yeah. So that was my next question. I mean, as far as your other family members, when they realized that you were noticing some things, did they try to hide it from you? I mean, obviously your grandma didn't want to say anything at 6 years old to you, but like how long did it go on before they said like, oh, actually we know about this kind of stuff?
Yeah, for a long time they hid it from me. They would like make things up. Oh, it's the wind, it's the house settling, it's this and that. But back in my mind, I was like, I don't believe them.
Yeah.
Because another incident, in my grandma's bedroom, we had two beds in there. My sister was in one bed, the other one I was sleeping next to my grandma. And we had this chest of drawers. It was a tall, dark oak chest. It had the doors that you swing open, and then
it's like an armoire, like a whole like wardrobe type thing.
Yeah, like a wardrobe. Yeah. And beneath it is like 3 drawers that you pull out. We had that in there, and every night it would make these weird knocking sounds, and it sounded like something was in it trying to get out. And I don't really remember when we got that dresser, but when I was young, I remember it knocking at night, and I woke up because it woke me up. And I'm facing it, and I got a little scared. And then I turned over to look at my grandma, and she's awake, looking right at it. And I know she's scared. And I'm like, Grandma, I go, why is it knocking? And she goes, "Oh, it's old. It's the," she said, "it's the wood settling. When it's chilly in here, the wood expands and it makes that noise like it's knocking." That's what
Yeah.
she told me.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, "Okay." But it scared me.
So it's like the
And,
classic excuse. It's an old house. It's
and
creaking, that
yes,
kind of thing. Okay.
yes. So, um, that's what would go on for a while until when I was a teenager in high school. That's when things I was like, okay, this is weird. Um, this is not normal. The things we're experiencing here, them calling our names, and I think it's my mom calling me. It's not her voice, it's not her, but it's her voice.
Yeah.
Just stuff like that, seeing things, shadows.
Did
Um,
did you and your sister talk about it when you were around that age, or I mean, she bring it up at all with you?
um, honestly, no, she didn't.
Okay.
I think maybe because she didn't want to scare me,
Yeah.
but I kind of just kept it to myself. I didn't really talk to it with anybody but my friends.
Yeah.
At school, I'll be like to my friends, like, "Hey, does this happen to you guys in your house?" And they're looking at me like, "No." They go, that's creepy. Your house is haunted." And I would tell my friends what we go through and they would experience, and they didn't believe me. They're like, "Oh yeah, right. You just want attention." And I was like, "No, seriously, this is what's going on."
Yeah.
And I noticed it was getting worse when I moved into my own room, to the room next to the one my mom is in right now. That's really active.
About what age was that?
Um, oh God, how old was I? 14, 15, maybe?
Okay.
Yeah, about 14, 15. Um, my room, yeah, there was activity going on. I strange knockings, just feel like something was in there with me. I was never comfortable sleeping in there by myself.
Yeah.
Just strange things. And I would feel better if my friend came to spend a night. She always loved spending the night. And she was the one that didn't believe me. And when she spent the night, the first night, she told me the next morning, she was, I didn't sleep. And I was like, "Oh, why not?" She goes, "Well, one, you were snoring." And I'm like, "Oh,
Could always blame
yeah.
that on the ghost,
Yeah. She told me this later on, and then she's like, "You were snoring." And then two, she goes, "I heard weird stuff in your room, like knocking, thumps." And she was just scared. And I was like, "Yeah, that's what I would experience." And finally, she believed me. And I was like, "Oh, thank God somebody believes me."
So these early experiences, did they feel threatening to you at all, or is it just sort of like in the
Mm,
background, neutral?
honestly, looking back, I felt like it was worse. I felt like whatever was there, yes, was curious and wanted my attention, but I felt like it was trying to scare me. And
Okay.
plus, it didn't help that my sister would scare me too. She liked to torment me.
Well, I mean, it's pretty much
Yeah,
goes along with
yeah.
having a sister or a brother. They're going to torment
Hmm.
you.
Yeah.
Um, so as far as you know, I mean, did the family know of anything that had happened on that property before they got there, or did they learn anything along the way when you were younger that might have contributed to it? Something on
Um,
that plot of land?
Before it got worse, no, we didn't know anything. What we just knew was, yeah, it was farmland before.
Okay.
Because when my grandma purchased this property, she said it was just farmland, like fields. There was I think there was like a ranch nearby, horses, like there was nothing here.
Yeah.
And then that's when later on, like when I got older, things started to get worse here. That's when my mom reached out to like these paranormal groups, and that's when they did research and they found out that, yeah, it was nothing but farmland here
Hmm.
and there's nothing here. But who knows what happened here many years ago.
Well, that was my next question is like, at what point did your family start saying, okay, we should contact somebody to help with this?
Um, Well, I always suffered with depression.
Yeah.
So my mom noticed I was getting worse, and I guess she realized, oh, this is spiritual. I'm getting attacked spiritually. Because I would not leave my room. I always wanted to stay in there
Yeah.
and just lay on the bed and just, feel what I was feeling. And my mom said, yeah, it was like a dark time. And she's like, something's wrong with Jessica. And then my sister, I remember it was attacking her. I'll never forget that. I don't know why we were arguing, but my sister tried to like hit me.
Mm-hmm.
And she just wasn't herself. I go, she would never do that to me. And
Yeah.
I remember yelling at her. I go, what the hell is wrong with you? I go, you're trying to hit me, really? And then she was like, I got to get out of here. So she got in her car and drove away. And that's when my mom was like, okay, I don't like what's going on here. That's when she was like, let's go get help. And that's when she reached out to this one paranormal group. I think there's two of them that came out.
Mm-hmm.
The second one was like an all-female group.
Is this when you're about like 16, 17, or are you older than that?
Yeah, 16, 17.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I was still in high school. I think I was in my junior year.
Okay.
And yeah, and that's when she finally like reached out for some help and was like, what's going on here? I think something here is attacking my children,
Do you feel like they actually helped at all?
Yeah, because I was just, when I was young, I just didn't understand what was going on. I didn't know there was a paranormal world. I didn't know about ghosts and all. And then I didn't know they can hurt you.
Yeah.
They can attack you. They could feed off your negative energies. My mom and dad didn't have a good marriage, so they would feed off on that here. They would argue, and then my depression. So I think that's where it would get stronger. Because like I said in the beginning, like it seemed like it was worse here.
Yeah. I feel the same way about as far as like marriages breaking apart and things feeding off of that, because I've experienced that myself when I was younger.
Yeah.
I think that really can feed a situation. There's this whole theory about girls who are starting to go through puberty, and something taps into that, especially with like poltergeist type hauntings.
Mm-hmm.
It seems to feed off of the energy of whatever they're going through.
Mm-hmm.
Even more so than boys. There's that famous haunting in England. I think they did the second Conjuring movie about where it was a girl around that age and her sisters, and it's stuff starts flying around the house. They're speaking in different like speaking as an old man, and there's this famous case. I think it was called the Enfield haunting. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it is.
But there's that ongoing theory that that kind of age can feed into that situation. I don't know if it's true or not, but it seems to be like an ongoing thing.
That's funny you said that because puberty, that area, the age, that's when I noticed, oh crap, there's something here. I don't know what it is. They're talking about ghosts. And I another creepy thing I noticed about my room was because I had a camcorder, that you had to put the batteries in, the charge. And it would my batteries would always die.
Yeah.
In my remote, my Walkman that needed batteries, it would die right away.
Yeah.
And at first I was like, that's strange. I go, I wonder what's wrong. And that's when my mom was like, that's not good. And that's when we had those teams here, we would tell them like, the batteries die really quick in that room. It was just my room that would do that.
Yeah, I think a lot of paranormal teams have to deal with that kind of stuff. That always bringing backup batteries because it's constantly being drained. So more recently, what sort of experiences have you had?
Oh, recently. The recent one, the creepy one where I saw a full body apparition. That was in the living room where my mom sits.
Okay.
Yeah, I just got, it was like 9 o'clock at night. And I was going to the living room, and off to the right, my boyfriend was sitting there playing, he was on his computer,
Yeah.
playing his game. And I remember it was dark in there. The only little lighting we had was the dining room table to the left. And so it was a little dim, but I still can see, where my mom sits. There's like a wall right here, and then over that is where her chair is.
Yeah.
And it's a brown chair with a tall headrest. But what was creepy, when I'm walking up, I see someone sitting there that I swear you had to be really tall to sit like that, because I could see her hair and
Yeah.
then top of her shoulders. And I'm getting closer, and I'm thinking, why is my mom sitting there in the dark? That, it's kind of creepy.
Yeah.
And then I was like, wait a minute. I was like getting closer. This woman had long dark hair. And when I'm going up maybe like 10 feet away, I started to see some features. This woman, maybe her late 30s and the 40s. She had light skin, like pale white skin. And as I got like maybe 5 feet, because I'm like, who is this? I noticed she like looked to her left, like really slowly, because I felt it. She sensed me there. And I know she had dark eyes, or brown. She had long eyelashes. And
She's looking towards you or away from you?
well, she's, sitting in front of me, but she's looking to the side like that, side
Okay.
eye.
Yeah.
And that's when I was like, holy crap, this isn't my mom. Who is this?
Yeah.
She's solid. I can't see through her. She's solid. And as I'm getting right to her, I remember blinking, and she disappeared just like that. But I knew she saw me, and I
Yeah.
felt like she was like, I could see you right there. I know you're coming up to me. And then she disappeared.
Your boyfriend didn't see anything at the time?
No.
He's so focused on whatever, Baldur's Gate 3 or whatever.
It's Call of Duty.
Oh, okay, Call of Duty. Yeah. So what do you? Okay, never having experienced anything like that before, personally, what sort of feelings are you getting when you see something like that? Are you just sort of frozen? Are you like a fight or flight sort of thing, where you need to get out of there right away? Or
I'm so used to it now of everything we've experienced here. I was a little startled, because you're just like, oh crap, you didn't expect that to happen. And I got excited, and it's just I remember just feeling a little angry, because it's like, oh, I just want to see who you are. Who are you?
Yeah.
And so when I got to her and she disappeared, I was scared. I was like, oh crap. But then I got a little angry, because I'm like, who are you? Like, well, what do they want? And who is she? And then I looked at my boyfriend, and then he takes off his headphones, and he's like, what's wrong? Because I had this shocked, expression. And I was like, there was somebody sitting here.
Yeah.
And he's like, shut up, get out of here. I'm like, you didn't see anybody? He goes, no. He goes, I didn't see anybody there. He goes, and he goes, I'm too busy paying attention to my game.
Trying to get a streak.
Yeah. And I was like,
there's like floating vases behind him and shit.
Yeah,
he's not seeing anything.
And I told him what I saw, and he was like, oh hell no. And like he was like, I don't want to play in here anymore. And I'm like, who knows how long she was sitting there? And it's creepy.
Has he had experiences before or not?
Once in my mom's room. I'll never forget. I forgot why I was sleeping in my mom's room. I think I was napping, and he went in there, and then I don't know, we just like took a nap right there.
Yeah.
I think my room was being remodeled, or the floor was being remodeled. That's what it was. So I was like, oh, I took a nap. He took a nap, and then I remember that he woke up because he was like, oh my god, he felt somebody slap his butt. He said it felt like a child's hand. And I was like, yeah, well, that's what my mom experiences here. Like, she feels like it's a child's hand. It's always slapping her on the butt.
Oh my god, what's up with this child?
Yeah, and I was like, it wasn't me. And he got scared, and he was like, oh my god. And then because he used to complain, he's like, I don't experience anything here. I don't feel anything. And I'm like, you will. given time.
Yeah. Now, have you had any other experiences that stand out recently?
Well, he experienced something finally recently. It was after my sister's birthday dinner. We got home and it was around, I think after 9. I'm in the room, I'm talking to my friend, and
I saw you that night.
Yeah, that night.
Okay, that night.
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, it was that night. I went home, I called my friend, we were talking on the phone, and then my boyfriend comes in scared. Oh my God. I'm like, what? What's wrong? He goes, in the hallway right here, he goes, I saw a very tall shadow person. It was as tall as the ceiling. And I was like, finally, like he experienced something. Because that's what he wanted.
Not just slaps on the butt.
And so I'm like, shut up. What was it doing? And he's like, it was like right in front of our door, and it was tall. He goes, I knew it was looking at me. He goes, I can feel it. He goes, it was like this shadowy, tall thing, and it's as tall as the ceiling. And then all of a sudden it started to like drift away from him, and it like disappeared into my grandma's room down the hall. And I was like, oh crap. And I go, okay, because I hear like dark, like shadow people are not good. That's what I was told. But I was like, okay. And he was like, forget it. He goes, I'm gonna come in here. I'm scared. He goes, I don't want to see that again. He's like, it was very tall. He goes, I knew it was looking at me. And then what was weird, after a while, we were just hanging out in the room watching TV. We started to smell sulfur.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And I was like, what the hell is that smell? It was just right in the room suddenly. And he smelled it, and I went outside because I was like, where's it coming from? It wasn't outside. And I remember I called my sister and I told her, can you come over here? And because I want to tell her what happened. And she came in here and she's like, I don't smell anything. I go, it was just here. We smelled sulfur. And it was just disgusting, rotting smell, like rotten eggs.
Yeah.
And Crystal's like, well, you know what they say, a bad spirit or, a bad entity that smells like that is negative, energy.
Pretty common happening with the, evil, malevolent beings or whatever.
Yeah.
These odd smells.
Yeah.
Now you sent me a photo of that first instance recently of you seeing the woman. Do you mind if I show that?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the area. So this would be from your perspective of where you saw her?
Yes.
Okay, so what's behind you? A hallway?
My hallway, yeah.
Okay.
And
so
then
you're coming in and you see the top of her head or what?
Yeah, you see the headrest. I know it's the brown headrest right there. Now imagine seeing like a head above that and the top of the shoulders.
Okay.
Like I said, when a normal person sits there, you can't see their head. You can't see.
It's pretty tall.
Yes. That's what was creepy. Like, was she levitating or what? But that was really tall, and that's why I was like, what the heck's going on? What am I seeing? This is creepy.
Now, as far as like around the house, the property, is there stuff that's happened outside of that, like in the yard, or does it just seem to be centered in the house?
No, we get things on the property. We used to see like a man wearing a white shirt that would walk up the driveway.
Oh, that's right. You told me about that.
Yeah. We all saw it. My grandma, me, my mom, my sister, my uncle at the time I was living here, my brother that used to live with me for a little while. Yeah, he'd be like, who is that guy walking up? He goes, he walked in the back. He was tall, lanky, white shirt. And he went outside, and of course there's nobody there. And my mom told him, she goes, oh yeah, that's who we see here all the time. He's always walking up the driveway. And it's funny because when we want to get a good look at him, it's we can't see his features. It's fuzzy, it's quick,
Yeah.
But we see it, a glimpse of him in the white t-shirt. And so that would happen. I would see shadow people in the backyard, walking around.
Yeah.
And then what I think too are the properties next door, our neighbor's house, especially the neighbor's house in the back. It's all connected because our old neighbors that used to live here, they would tell us, yeah, they had strange things in their houses as well.
Yeah.
And I forgot how we found out, but the neighbor in the back house, they found out that they used to practice some witchcraft there.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well, when you mentioned the person in white, I think I'm not sure if it's a Hispanic like practice, but I know that there's some where they do rituals and everyone is wearing white. Yeah, in South America or maybe Mexico. I'd have to look into that more, but I know that's one of them is they wear like all white suits and all white clothes during ceremonies. I don't know if that's Santeria or not, but might be something different. I'm way too white to know.
Too white to know.
Yeah. You told me something about an experience that happened outside where you saw something on your roof, right?
Yeah, my neighbor's roof.
So I'm going to bring up a photo that you sent me of your perspective of that. Let me just hold on one second.
Okay. Sorry, I hear all the dogs barking.
That's all right. So this would be your perspective of where you saw whatever you saw.
Yeah, this was in 2014, 11 o'clock at night. I just got home from a friend's house. Where exactly, I'm standing, where my car was parked, it was right there.
Yeah.
And, I'm facing that way. So, yeah, when you drive up the driveway, you see the neighbor's house, the left and right, chain link fence and all.
Yeah.
So I'm on the phone with my friend. I just parked. We're talking about the night. And then I look over and on the edge of the roof right there, I see somebody crouching down on the roof.
Like close to the palm tree or just along
right
the
there.
railing?
Yes,
okay.
Right there. And so at first I thought it was my neighbor because we have a neighbor out there. He always smokes his cigarettes, and so I was like, okay, that's odd. He's on the roof. So I didn't pay attention at first, and I'm focusing on my conversation on the phone. And then I look back and then I was like, this is weird because the way it's crouching down, and this person is wearing baggy clothing, and it looks like he had a hood on, and it reminds me of like the Grim Reaper's hood, how it is. And then I noticed it started glitching in and out. It was solid, and then it was see-through, solid. And I'm like, what the hell am I seeing? And then another thing I noticed when it started to look at me, it was nothing but a shiny face. It was shiny.
What do you mean shiny?
It was just light, energy, and it was just very bright. And I was like, I'm on the phone. I'm like, what the hell am I seeing? This is not my neighbor. I don't know what creature this is. Is it an alien? And the way it's just crouch, and then it would like look away from me, then look back again, and then it would just disappear a little bit, like it would dim out and then come back again. I'm like, so
how long did this last?
It felt like it was like 10 minutes. It
always goes by really slow.
Yes, it was a long time, and I'm scared to move. I'm on the phone with my friend. I'm telling my friend, I am seeing something very weird right now on my neighbor's roof. Of course, he laughed at me, and he's like, oh, he goes, he must be drunk or something. I'm like, no, I'm not. I go, dude, I'm not. I go, there's something weird, and he didn't believe me. And I was like, I don't think it's human. And I'm like, I'm scared to like walk to my house because what if it gets me? And he was just like, okay. He's like, just get up and go in the house.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay. I was just frozen because I'm like, what is this? So finally I got out of my car slowly. I'm watching it, and I'm taking slow steps, and I'm watching it, and it's watching me, and
Yeah.
it never moved. It just kept its eyes on me. Oh, I think there was eyes because, like I said, there was no
face
features.
towards you.
Yeah, there was no features. It was just white. This is bright light.
Yeah.
And then so finally I get into the house. I lock the door. I get off the phone with my friend, and I run into my mom's room, and I'm like, Mom, there's something weird on the roof on the neighbors next door. Can you come out with me? So of course we go out there, and it's gone.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, and my mom was like, what did you see? So I told her what I saw, and I was scared, and I was like, I don't know what that was. I don't think it was a ghost. It was something. I don't know, alien. I don't know.
Yeah.
I know that sounds weird, but and then so I remember going to bed, and I have the curtains open, and I'm laying there, and I'm like, no, screw that. I'm gonna close my curtains because
Oh yeah, that's like first thing you do is close your curtains.
Yeah. Well, because no, I kept it open, and I was like, no, I'm scared. What if it's on our roof, and what if it tries to come in? So I closed it.
Yeah.
And then I went to sleep. And then funny thing, my mom told me a story the next day when she got home from work. She goes, you know what? She goes, when I was leaving the house, she leaves like the house like 4 a.m. to go to her job. She goes, something happened. She goes, I was thinking about that thing you saw on the roof. She goes, because when she's walking out in the driveway, to the street to go to her car, she goes, I heard like these thumping sounds on our neighbor's roof. Like something was like running. She heard tap, tap, tap. And she thought about what I saw. And of course, when she looks, she can't see anything because they have all these trees in the front. But she was like, I felt like something was like following her. And then when she was getting to the gate, she heard something like drop down from the roof onto the grass.
Yeah.
And it was heavy, the sound. And my mom got scared, and she locked the gate real quick, and she ran to her car, and she goes, I think it was there, and it was following me. I don't know. It was creepy.
Sounds like that movie Signs.
Right? Yeah, just like that.
Has your family ever brought up like wanting to move from that property, or is it just like they're just dealing with it?
They never brought up about moving at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. They just, I don't know, everything that we experience here, we just, I guess learn to live with it. There's things, it's still here, of course. We learn to just coexist with it, and as long as they don't hurt us, that's fine. Because when we had those demonologists come out, it felt like it got better here.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not as bad like it used to be. So we just every now and then we experience something, we talk about it, and move on.
You always like wonder, you watch a movie with a haunted house and you're like, why don't you just move?
I know.
It's not always in the cards. Or then some people say, well, we did move and it followed us or whatever.
Yeah. That's what family and friends tell us. Like, didn't you think about moving? And I don't know. Like I said, I think, we're used to it. And yeah, it's exciting if we experience something.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about it. And I always talk to my friend Des, because she's fascinated with our house because she experienced things here. So she's like, oh yeah, your house is crazy. So every time I experience something here, I call her up. I go, hey, guess what happened? And she loves to hear about them.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like it's been going on for pretty much decades. I mean, probably the better part of at least 50 years.
Yeah, long time.
I don't know. I don't know. I wouldn't be able to live in any place like that. I don't think. I'd be freaked out.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for coming on and sharing everything. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Yeah, I've always wanted to get the full scoop about your house and get the rundown.
I wanted to tell my side of the story and what have I experienced. And
absolutely. Yeah. Well, thanks again. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah. We'll be having more shows later on this week. Frank Welker Wonder Hour and a bunch of other shows on Gangline Assembly. So check us out on Instagram. And we might actually have a Patreon up soon, but that's still in the works. But yeah, check us out there. And thanks again, Jessica. I appreciate it.
Hey, you're welcome, Matt. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. All right. Bye, everybody.
All right. Bye.